Bato of the Water Tribe is one of the best episodes in the show. The character development and payoffs are excellent. Let's start with Sokka. This episode really built up Sokka's history and goals. The flashbacks showed us that Sokka wanted to be a great Water Tribe warrior like his father Hakoda, but he never got the chance because his father had to go to war, leaving his kid behind. Because of his past, Sokka in the present wanted to prove himself as a great warrior/leader like his father and find Hakoda. His backstory was the root of his goals. That's good writing. This episode was brilliant because it gave Sokka the chance to prove himself as a tribe warrior/leader and find his father. The episode started with the gang finding Bato's boat and eventually Bato himself, who was separated from his group. The first important step was Bato allowing Sokka to go ice dodging, which was a rite of passage for tribe warriors that Sokka never got to do. Sokka was given the role of leader and went above Bato's expectations, passing the test with flying colors. That's one unresolved plot point down. Before, Sokka was going to sacrifice his chance to meet Hakoda to complete his mission with Aang. But after Aang broke their trust, he decided to pursue a second unresolved plot point. On their way to find Hakoda, Bato executed a wonderful parallel. They heard a wolf howling, and Bato explained that it was a wolf separated from his pack. When he said that he understood the pain of being separated from the pack, he connected the wolf, Bato, young Sokka, and current Aang in one fell swoop. Aang broke their trust because he was afraid of being abandoned. Sokka's flashbacks and Bato's separation were used as a setup for the payoff of Sokka forgiving Aang, and the wolf was the trigger. It's a minor arc because the change is believing Aang should be punished for dishonesty, to believing that Aang should be forgiven due to sympathy. Brilliant writing. Sokka and Katara went back to help Aang, and Sokka showed some leadership and tactics in the final battle. The resolution had Sokka calling Aang his family too. That's beautiful. Aang had a character arc too. His old belief was that he should lie to keep Katara and Sokka around. His new belief was that he should be honest, even if it means his friends leaving him. The story did a great job of putting us in Aang's shoes. In some other episodes, it felt like the writers forced the characters to make out-of-character mistakes, just so they could teach the lesson for that episode. But this episode really built up why Aang would make his mistake. As soon as Bato arrived, Aang was being ignored and treated noticeably worse than before. When Bato brought up Hakoda's message, Sokka and Katara's response told Aang that they would drop him as soon as they got the message. Unfortunately, he left before he heard the part where Sokka said he'd go to the North Pole with Aang first. This was a well-written coincidence. Aang was hurt enough times to make me believe that he'd walk out after hearing their enthusiasm about Hakoda. Because Aang walked out alone, it gave him the opportunity to get Hakoda's message alone and hide it. Then he started hiding evidence like footprints. The ice dodging giving Aang a position of trust was a catalyst for his change. He admitted his mistakes and accepted full responsibility. This was great. The mistake he made was very sympathetic and he owned up to it all on his own, making him honorable. Sokka's story and Aang's story intertwined so well throughout this episode. Finally, Bato of the Water Tribe had some great setups and payoffs. In previous episodes, Katara lost her necklace and Zuko found it. In Act 1 of this episode, Nyla was established to be a master scent tracker. The necklace and Nyla were combined for the payoff of Zuko using the necklace to track Katara, and thus Aang. Throughout their subplot, they visited locations the gang visited in previous episodes. During the final fight, Aang stole the necklace back and returned it to Katara in the resolution, further paying off the setup. Nyla had another payoff based on his smelling skills. The civilians were shown making perfumes before Sokka and Aang split ways. In the final battle, the perfume being able to cure the paralysis was convenient, but how they used it to win the battle was smart. Sokka deduced that Nyla saw with smell. Showing his leadership, he came up with a plan of pouring out perfume so that Sokka could waterbend them onto the villains, confusing Nyla's nose. This resulted in the pet paralyzing the Fire Nation. I don't really even need to talk about the plot, because I already went over most of it just by talking about Sokka's development, Aang's development, and the payoffs. That shows that this episode was built around character development, which makes it so surgical with his writing. There were two arcs, but I wouldn't call either of them the theme. I'd say the through line surrounding the importance of family is the theme. Be there for your family when they need you. Aang went back to the siblings because he learned that they were being tracked, and the siblings went back to Aang because they understood his perspective. What's cool is that they do a little subversion. Initially, Hakoda is the family that Sokka needed to be there for, but by the end, Aang was promoted to family status, justifying Sokka's decision to abandon his father for now. In the resolution, the dialogue reinforced this theme.